Katana Zero is one of the most creative games I've played recently. In many ways, it's an indie action slasher with a twist of time manipulation, which really doesn't sound all that unique when compared to My Friend Pedro, Super Hot, or even Braid. The fact that the general indie aesthetic is also followed in this game makes it fall even more in line with a generic indie title. And even without me delving into the specifics, you probably know what I mean when I say generic indie. But here are some things that I noticed. Pixel graphics, lo-fi chiptune soundtrack, difficult skill-based gameplay, VHS glitch effects, nonsensical metaphorical writing casually inserted, etc., etc., etc. But despite these generalities, Katana Zero has so much more going on that makes me love the game. The primary item is the story and the thematic content. The game tries to take on a lot of very heavy topics, and yet it seems to handle each one with a sense of grace and understanding, which can be very difficult for tough subjects. This game talks about drug abuse, alcoholism, classism, racism, PTSD, the Vietnam War, basically, war crimes, psychopathy, and the decay of time, and yet does not feel rushed or over the top or too in your face. I've played other games where they try and just tackle one of those topics and it comes off feeling stilted, phony, or preachy. This game does not do that. A big part of why that works in this case is the illusion of choice. This tool is used throughout the game. Now, there are some branching elements in this game, but the final outcome can only be changed in small ways. Instead, the game makes you feel as if each dialogue choice is impactful. However, only small changes occur enough to make a playthrough feel as if you're actually affecting the plot and impacting the events that unfold around you. In reality, you never really have a choice. The same people will die and the same people will live, no matter what you choose to say or do or not say within the game. This is tied into one of the central themes of fate that runs through the majority of the game. Fate is shown in the form of two masked, lab coat wearing Shakespearean characters who appear to the main character. We're not really sure if they actually exist or not, and while some of their lines are overtly cheesy and over the top, these characters are there to remind the player of their fate, no matter what options they might choose. It's a connection to the reality of the game, which will end the same no matter what. People love throwing around that idea of ludonarrative dissonance as a phrase now, but this is a borderline fourth wall breaking piece of writing that forces the player to understand that they are not in control of the fate of the characters in the game. The silver and gold are also highlighted in the toys that the little girl plays with, Behemoth and Leviathan, a biblical reference to Revelation and the end of time. What exactly does that mean? I'll be honest, I have no fucking clue, but I did think that it was important to point out, especially given the end of the game, which I'm not going to spoil because I think this game deserves everyone's time. The key here is a major connection between the gameplay and the themes that are being sent forward. When people complain about ludonarrative dissonance, that's what they're complaining about. But in this game, they're subtly and perfectly intertwined. This game also encompasses an overwhelming sense of doom and gloom. For being a game that looks and sounds so light and fun, in reality the player is getting a glimpse into a horribly dark underbelly of the world. We see the torture of drug addicts, murder of homeless men, a family left behind, and many other acts of brutality. This is central to the unfeeling nature of the main character. As you commit these acts, you get desensitized to it, just as he has over the course of his many lives and many deaths. It's only through facing true ultimate death that some amount of closure can come. But even that is not enough for this main character because of what it costs him. You're forced to step into the shoes of a main character that you have nothing in common with, and frankly, don't even want to root for most of the time. This game captures melancholy and loss, memory and time. It captures nightmare war situations and PTSD, and it captures childlike wonder. You can never really tell what is real and what is inside the head of the main character, but that's not frustrating. Instead, the reality of the Chronos, which is the drug that gives the main character his time travel ability, kind of allows you to fill in the gaps as you go along. You don't need to know everything, and that's okay. The main character never truly knows either. There are enough motifs and metaphorical language present for the meaning of things to become clear, even if they're being viewed through the foggy lens of a main character that is entirely untrustworthy. Even the existence of the little girl, one of the main characters, is called into question throughout the game. But again, the lack of trust that you feel towards the main character doesn't take anything away. It only adds to the thematic content of the game. There are a lot of ways that this game reminds me of the movie Memento. The countdown of days does not match the non-linear storytelling, but the slow reveal of information that colors each event matches that movie really well. For some people, this might be frustrating, but for me, the slow reveal of information is endlessly intriguing. You're constantly wanting to know more and asking more questions and wondering if you had picked a different dialogue option, would you have learned more in a specific situation? Or what if you had acted differently? Or what if you had interrupted the character speaking? Or what if you... And that's where the beauty of the game lies. The actual gameplay is hack and slash time game. It's fun and a little frustrating sometimes. I never felt like I was truly in control of my character and his abilities. Rather than feeling like an unstoppable killer, it felt like I had to die 15 times to beat a room and actually figure it out. However, that does kind of match the theme of the game because you're coming off as this unstoppable, murderous villain, the dragon. But in reality, you're dying constantly and stumbling your way through existence, not really knowing what's real and what's not real, and not knowing how to kill someone until you do. In the end, any time a game that can blend story and gameplay and theme, they've done something right. And that's very true in this case. That being said, I really don't have much to say about the gameplay. I didn't really enjoy it too much. It's just kind of generic 2D hack and slasher. I wanted to. The further I got into the game, the more difficult it got, and also the less fun it became. It became a trial of patience to get through to find the story rather than a true backbone of the game. It was also pretty difficult for me, so maybe I just need to work on being a pro-elite gamer, but that also got in the way of my enjoyment of the game. There was one funny moment related to gameplay where they present you a gun and you're like, oh shit, because you've been using a sword for the entire playthrough up to that point, and you grab the gun and then you throw it at a guy and it hits him in the head rather than, you shooting the gun. I thought that was pretty funny. Anyway, I don't think this game is for everyone. I think that the game has interesting mechanics, interesting enemy variety, level design, and boss battles to make it something that's fun, even if you don't pay attention to the story. But the core of what made this game special to me was the writing itself. The ability to interrupt a character's dialogue was unique, and each dialogue option felt like something that I might actually say in that situation, and it guided me into the storyline in a brilliant manner. That takes a lot of attention to detail, and it's not something that a lot of games actually do with their story. Add to this a pretty fun aesthetic of VHS samurai movies, 1980s electronic music, and you have something that's really special. I really want people to play and experience the story of this game, and maybe don't let dying a few times, or for me, maybe like a few hundred times, get in the way of something that's truly awesome and unique. Also, it's on Game Pass, so it's pretty easy to get to, and that's where I play basically all my games now. I just really want people to play this game, so please, go play it. Bye.